Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Just a short video on a couple of topics from Chapter 2. We're not going to spend too much time on certain kinds of accounts. I wanted to talk real quickly about margin accounts. That's a little bit deep in the investing experience there, but basically a margin account is a brokerage account where you have, let's say you have $10,000 for a stock purchase that you want to make, but you don't want to use all of your own money. You can actually borrow money from your broker on margin, so you're leveraging the money that you have. So say you want to buy $10,000 worth of stock, you can actually put down $7,000 and then borrow $3,000 from your broker. Now, if that stock goes up, you can sell the stock and you basically give the money back to the broker, and you pay a little bit of interest for the use of that money. If the stock were to go down, he could ask you to pay back some of the margin that you owe him, called a margin call. So just wanted you to be aware that that account is out there, but we're really not going to talk too much about it other than what we've just done here. So know that it's there and know what a margin account is and what a margin call is, and that's really all we need to know. The other type of account that we're not going to spend too much time on, but you're going to see that in your Learn Smart section this week, is something called a short sale. And we're not going to, when you buy a stock, if you think the stock is going to go up, that's a long position in a stock. That's what that's referred to. There's also something called a short position. And a short position, as many of you probably already know, is when you're betting the stock price to actually drop. And so the basics of this, it gets a little bit complicated, but the basics of this is simple. You basically borrow shares of stock from your broker and you sell them on the open market. Let's say they're $100 worth of shares. So you borrow the stock from him or her and you sell it, 100 shares. And they put all of that money from the proceeds of those shares in your brokerage account. And they're frozen, so you can't touch them, you can't use them. And the broker uses them kind of as a collateral in case the stock doesn't do what you expect it to do. And then what you're doing is you're promising to buy back that same number of shares sometime in the future. So let's say 2 weeks after you buy those shares for $100 a share, the stock price does drop. Let's say it drops all the way to $80 a share. You now buy back those stocks on the open market for $80 a share. You give the same number of shares that you bought from the broker, the 100 shares, and you give them back to him. And you keep the difference in the price. So you pay him back basically $80 per share times the number of shares, and you kept $100. When you originally sold it, you sold it for $100. So you've got that $20 per share profit that you make on that stock. So you've successfully bet on which direction that stock was going to go. That's essentially really all the deeper we're going to get into short selling, but just know that it's out there. It's an option to versus a long position versus short position. So short position is something that day traders are going to do, more aggressive traders are going to do. But I wanted you to be aware of those two positions, and you'll see more of that in your book.